cognizant of the fact that one of God's main command and desires for us to go and make disciples of many nations. This video is on our personal desires and is dedicated to my late grandmother, Antoinette Malcolm Smith, a mighty woman of God. I know many of us have personal desires, but they look impossible to achieve. The Word of God says if you delight in the Lord, He will grant you the desires of your heart. The things you desire may not come when you want them, nor how you want them, but you will get them. You know, from the time I was introduced to accounting in the second year of high school, I always wanted to be an accountant. But it looked impossible for me to go to college, as you know, my father was a carpenter. My mother was a worker at one of the fishery plants in South Caicos, and my other siblings never went to college. And so our family didn't have any money. Scholarships was limited or even unheard of at the time of our graduation. But in 1986, God opened the heart of a tourist family, the Drakes from Michigan, who provided scholarships to students from the Turks and Caicos Islands to his alma mater. And as a result, I was able to go to college and complete my Bachelor's of Arts degree in accounting. And I did this I was 19 in 1989 when I completed my first degree, and then in December, at age 20, I completed my MBA. And I became the first local financial controller, CEO of Cable Wireless, international phone company. Today, I have my own accounting firm. Another desire I have is to own and manage my brand hotels, Seymour Villas and Suites. 5 years ago, I was rejected by at least 3 hotels in the Turks and Caicos Islands for employment. They said I was not qualified. Accounting for hotels is different from accounting in other areas. But you know, God opened a door. 4 years ago, I was approached by some individuals. I didn't even know them. They heard about me and my company. And they wanted me to do accounting for their condos. And then they asked me to manage these companies. So God made a way to equip me and prepare me to fulfill the desires of one day owning my resorts throughout the Turks and Caicos and the Caribbean and the world eventually. And I know after listening to this, some of you may be wondering, you know, why I suffered from inferiority complex, as I discussed in a previous video, because of the accomplishments that I received. But you know, those accomplishments, they didn't move me during my time of suffering from inferiority complex. But after being in a relationship with God, He made a way, and I'm now free from that mentality. You know, the Israelites were in bondage in Egypt for years, I believe 400, and God promised them that He would take them to the promised land. And on their way, leaving Egypt, the Egyptians pursued the Israelites, and they got caught up with them while they were resting at the Red Sea. The Israelites became frightened, and they wished they had stayed in Egypt because it looked like they were about to die because the Egyptians were right behind them. However, God turned the Red Sea into dry land, enabling the Israelites to pass. The Israelites not only crossed the Red Sea on dry land, the Israelites later crossed the River Jordan on dry land when it was at flood stage under the leadership of Joshua. In 2 Kings 4, there's a story about a woman whose husband had died, and the family had outstanding debt with some creditors. She was not in a position to repay them. So the creditors were on their way to get her 2 sons as slaves. The woman cried out to Elijah and told him that she had nothing at all except a small jar of olive oil. Elijah told her to get some empty jars from her neighbors and pour oil into those jars. And she kept pouring oil into the jars. And when all the jars were full, the oil stopped flowing as she had no more jars. Elijah told her she could now go and sell the oil and pay off her debts, and she will still have enough for her and her sons to live off. What is your story? All you have to do is delight in the Lord. Delight in the Lord through His Word, and have faith and patience. Your story may be about a desire to be healed. God's will is for us to find a way to heal you. Your story may be about discouragement, but God will find a way to encourage and uplift you. Your story may be about being financially broke, but God will find a way to provide you with a financial breakthrough. Your story may be about starting a business, but you do not know how. You do not see how. But God will find a way. Your story may be about your children struggling, but God will find a way to turn that situation around. Your story may be about finding a spouse. God too will find a story. You may have a story about losing a spouse, either through divorce, separation, or death. God will find a way to bring you peace, comfort, or even reconciliation. Commit your way to the Lord, and your story will become a testimony and an inspiration for others. God made many ways for me. He made many ways for the Israelites to come to the Promised Land by crossing the Red Sea and the River Jordan on dry land. He made a way for the widow to pay off her debts, her bills, and she had excess funds. God made ways for many other people. If He did it for me and others, He will certainly do it for you. Delight in the Lord, and He will grant you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in Him, and He will do so.